Good afternoon, welcome. This is Spotlight Africa, and we're coming to you live from Uyo, the Aquarium State capital. I am Uyai Imem. Top stories on Spotlight Africa today. Military officer claims total control of Guinea-Bissau in potential coup. South Africa hits back after Trump says United States won't invite it for G20 next year. India suffer heaviest defeat as SA completes series sweep. Kenya scrambles to save key trade pact with the European Union suspended by court. In other news, Donald Trump's envoy denies bias as he pushes for Sudan peace plan. We'll bring you all these stories on Spotlight Africa. Stay with us. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. We head straight to Guinea-Bissau, where, of course, there has been a military takeover in the nation as military officers claim to have taken total control of Guinea-Bissau in what could be a potential coup. As the country awaits the results of national elections, the officer in a statement said they had suspended the election process and closed the borders. Recall that Guinea-Bissau's presidential and legislative elections were held on Sunday. Embalo and opposition candidate Fernando Dias da Costa both claimed victory, but official provisional results were not expected until today. Reports say the nation has seen 4 coups and numerous attempted ones since its independence from Portugal in 1973. In another development, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has described as regrettable the announcement of the United States President Donald Trump that South Africa would not be invited to take part in next year's G20 summit in Florida. In a social media post, Trump said South Africa had refused to hand over the G20 presidency to a U.S. embassy representative at last week's summit in Johannesburg. Members of the G20, a gathering of the world's biggest economies, do not need an invite but can possibly be barred through visa restrictions. Trump boycotted the Johannesburg summit because of a widely discredited claim that South Africa's white minority is the victim of large-scale killings and land grabs. Ramaphosa said in a statement that the U.S. had been expected to participate in the G20 meetings, but unfortunately, it elected not to attend the G20 Leaders Summit in Johannesburg out of its own volition. Still in South Africa, there has been a handing over by India of heavy defeat by runs to complete a compelling 2-0 series sweep in Guwahati on Wednesday. The Proteas won by 408 runs in the second test to claim just their second series win in India and their first since 2000 under Hansye Konji. The defeat surpasses India's previous heaviest loss, which was by 342 runs against Australia in Nagpur in 2004. It is India's second home series defeat in 2 years after a 3-0 loss to New Zealand last year. Prior to that, they had not lost a test series on home soil for 12 years. South Africa had declared their second innings on a 265 on day 4 to hand India a record chase of 549. But the visitors bowled out India for 140 and 63.5 overs on the final day, with Ravindra Jadeja providing the only resistance for India with 54. Spinner Simon Harmer took 6 wickets for South Africa, while Aiden Markram took a record 9 catches. Elsewhere, Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema has come out fighting after a bruising month that saw him come under attack by stone throwers as he was trying to make a speech. Video clips of him crouching and then being whisked away from a rally in the Copperbelt province shocked Zambians and many people, irrespective of their political affiliation, condemned what happened. But with 9 months to go until elections and a run for a second term, the president is under pressure. On Tuesday, in his first press conference for 18 months, Hichilema set out to defend his record and laid out his achievements on the key issues of the economy and power generation. But the message may not hit home with those who are continuing to struggle day to day. In a separate development, since Mali adopted a new constitution in 2023, the country has 13 official languages. Although French is no longer part of that list, the language of the former colonizer is still present everywhere, including in classrooms. Malian authorities hope artificial intelligence can change that by helping students learn to read and write in local languages they already speak with friends and family. To achieve this goal, the Education Ministry has called on Robert Smalley. This AI company has produced more than 100 stories in Bambara, the most widely spoken language in the country, for students to read in schools. The organization hopes to provide a solution to the lack of books in Malian languages. After Mali gained independence from France in 1960, several attempts were made to replace French language education with languages like Bambara. These failed repeatedly, mainly due to a lack of resources and a lack of political will. Away from that, Kenya on Wednesday vowed to appeal a court ruling which suspended its trade agreement with the European Union. The country's trade ministry said the decision by the East African Court of Justice followed a case filed by a think tank which argued that Kenya's decision to sign the agreement with the EU violated several provisions of the East African Community Treaty. The East African Community is a political and trade bloc bringing together 8 East African countries. In force since 2024, the so-called Kenya-European Union Economic Partnership Agreement, EPA, drew opposition from regional trade experts who argued that the deal was supposed to be agreed with the entire bloc and not with Kenya alone. The deal is open for other East African states to join. The suspension is significant for Nairobi, whose trade with the EU, valued at €3 billion is in 2023, includes nearly €1.2 billion in export. Tanzania cancels Independence Day celebrations after election unrest. We'll bring you the details of the story and others in a moment. Stay tuned. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. This is still Spotlight Africa. We head now to West Africa here in Nigeria, where a group of 24 Nigerian girls who were abducted from their boarding school over a week ago have been released, the country's president reported. And assailants stormed the school in Nigeria's Kebbi State on 17th November, killing 2 members of staff and abducting 25 students. One was able to escape soon after. Nigerian President Bola Tinubu praised security forces for their swift response to the kidnapping, although circumstances of the girls' release remained unclear. Africa's most populous nation suffered a spate of abductions last week, with more than 250 children abducted from a Catholic school last Friday still missing, according to the school authorities. Friday's kidnapping in Niger State has been described as one of the worst mass abductions in Nigeria's history. However, some officials say the number of missing children has been overstated. Addressing the early abduction in Kebbi State, Bayo Onanuga, a special advisor to the president, confirmed that all the kidnapped schoolgirls had been accounted for. Onanuga's statement said the attack had triggered copycat kidnappings. Elsewhere, President Donald Trump's senior Africa envoy, Masad Boulos, has rejected criticism that the U.S. latest proposal to end the Sudan civil war is biased. The U.S., Saudi Arabia, Egypt and the United Arab Emirates have been attempting to mediate between Sudan's army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, which have been fighting for more than 2 years. On Sunday, Sudan's Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan said the latest ceasefire proposal was unacceptable and future ones would also be one-sided as long as the UAE was involved in the negotiation. The Gulf state denies it is offering support to the RSF, and on Tuesday, Paulo said the bias Burhan spoke of was non-existent. We head over now to Tanzania. There has been a cancellation of next month's Independence Day celebrations, with the funds to be instead spent on rebuilding infrastructure damaged in recent election unrest, Prime Minister Mulungu Nchemba has said. His announcement comes as the opposition and others have been calling for people to gather on Independence Day, 9th of December, to demonstrate about killings that took place following last month's disputed poll. The opposition believes hundreds of people died in the crackdown. The government has yet to give a death toll and has set up a commission of inquiry. President Samia Suluhu Hassan won the poll with 98% of the vote, described by the opposition as a mockery of democracy. Her key opponents were unable to contest the poll. Tudi Lusu has been in detention on treason charges, which he denies, while Luhanga Mfina's candidacy was rejected on technical grounds. Meanwhile, the election observers have since reported signs that the vote was manipulated and fell short of democratic standards. Police in Malawi are investigating how 4 police dogs went missing from a presidential palace in the capital. During the political transition in September, Godfrey Arthur, who served as State House Deputy Chief of Staff under former President Lazarus Chakwera, has been arrested in connection with the theft of the 4 German shepherds. He denies the charge. Chakwera vacated the palace after losing the elections to President Peter Mutharika, who made a stunning comeback. Late on Wednesday, police denied reports that Chakwera had been arrested but confirmed securing a search warrant for his residence after information suggested the stolen dogs were being kept there. Chakwera, who came second with 33% of the vote in September's vote, is facing numerous allegations of public resources mismanagement, especially during the handover. His Malawi Congress Party MCP has accused Mutharika's administration of harassing and intimidating the former leader. Chakwera has not commented. And these are all the stories we're able to bring you at this time, looking at events all around Africa. This has been put together by Spectrum Television. Do well to follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our websites, spectrumtvlive.ng. We are MM Spotlight Africa. Good afternoon.